canceling FEMA but reworking it for better performance.
The president recognizes that FEMA should not exist the way that it always has been. It needs to be redeployed in a new way.
On NBC's Meet the Press, she defended the agency's flood response in Texas and calls claims of delayed aid absolutely false. Cal State LA is allowing excused absences and remote classes due to student fears over federal immigration raids. While no raids have occurred on campus, concerns about commuting have led the university to offer flexible options for students and faculty. And the Recording Academy has invited nearly 3,600 music pros to join its voting ranks. New invitees include R&B singer Mariah the Scientist, giving her and others a say in future Grammy Awards. Voting members are made up of artists, songwriters, producers, and engineers in the music industry. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Nara Sanders, and my host, Will Sutton.
Good morning, New Orleans.
It's Monday, y'all. It is the Monday after qualifying week, so this too will be a big week, I suppose. I guess everybody's gearing up to figure out if anyone is going to be challenged. We'll see. I'm excited to see it. Because the field is huge, especially for some key races. There are a multitude of people running for the mayor of New Orleans, as is a couple other races. But I'm going to keep my eye on them. I want to keep you informed. Election Day is October 11th around these parts. September 27th starts early voting. October 4th ends early voting. It is going to be a very exciting election season. My super producer is going to drop the link in the chat. That is the link to our Google Doc where you can insert your questions for the candidates. There are sections there, different topics, that govern our community. But if you do not see the topic that you want to speak on, there's at the very bottom section where you can just enter a question if you do not feel like your topic was covered. And we are going to use those questions to inform our forum, which will be held Monday and Tuesday, the 28th and the 29th at George's Auditorium at Dillon University. I will moderate those panels, and we will hear directly from our candidates who are vying for your vote. I think it's important that you lift your voice and have a say. We're not RSVP, and you can just show up. You just come. It starts for 6, it will end at 9, and it will be a 2-day session, the 28th and the 29th. We will send letters out to every candidate, and only those who respond will actually appear. So we're not twisting your arm to come, but we're asking you to show up to talk directly to your constituents. So once again, that is October 11th is Election Day. Our forum will be the 28th and the 29th.
So to clarify, the public does not have to RSVP. The candidates must RSVP if they would like some stage time.
Yes, absolutely. I don't foresee many people not showing up. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for them to talk directly to their constituents or their future constituents. And like I said, the field of candidates is huge. So if you delay in responding to the email, there may not be a space for you because there's a lot of folk vying for public office. There's also a topic that I wanted to talk about last week, and I didn't get the opportunity to do so. But I will not neglect to talk about it today because I think it's extremely important. I'm not certain if you guys know that there's an OIG audit that is happening in relation to the NARD Commission. And, what's alarming to me about this OIG audit is that parts of the audit are being released prior to the audit completing itself. So I don't know what the aim is there, but I would think that if we're investigating something, we have to have a full and complete, robust picture before we put it into public consumption. It bothers me that parts of them are being released before the completion of the audit. And so as it relates to that audit, there's been a response. The city of New Orleans issues a statement on NARD Commission response to OIG audit. And the response says the NARD Commission has reviewed the letter from the New Orleans Office of Inspector General regarding audit requirements outlined in the city charter. Since its establishment as a commission in 2010, NARD has operated with oversight and budgetary support from the city of New Orleans and has been included in the city's annual comprehensive audit process. As such, NARD has not historically conducted a separate independent audit. While the commission structure envisioned a greater degree of operational and financial independence, NARD has continued to function largely as a city-supported agency, receiving the majority of its funding through the city's general fund. We acknowledge the OIG's findings and recognize the importance of independent financial reporting. NARD is currently reviewing its internal processes and structure to ensure compliance with the audit and reporting standards outlined in the charter. We are committed to implementing any necessary changes to strengthen transparency and accountability moving forward. So again, I'm gonna tell you why this is alarming for me, because I think about everything in timing, right? And I know you guys remember because I talked about it very passionately here. Laura Cannizzaro, went on this tear about NORD. And any of my commentary that you're going to hear me say, I've said it directly in meetings with her. This is not my private thought. This is my public thought. You went on a tear about NORD and all of the deficiencies and how dilapidated the buildings are and how nasty the facilities are. Yeah. And in some of those things, I will not deny that this community has said some of those exact same things for years, and they're documented. I can show you a variety of emails that I personally sent regarding the facility on the West Bank where my high school has to play. Championship winning program, by the way. So, these things that you're saying are not exclusive to your thought process. We've all had those thoughts. But what you did was you used this dilapidation and degradation of the NORD settings and facilities to then garner $2 million to take over to UNO. Had a problem with it, and I said it very publicly. And I'm still open to meeting with you to have this conversation personally, because maybe there are some points that you have not been able to make that will make this make sense to me. Because now there's an OIG investigation based on all of these news reports you've done and all of these articles where your name appears talking very negatively about a system that a lot of our children depend on. And I don't know if the goal is to make it obsolete. I don't know. But it feels very much like what happened to our charter school, to our public schools in favor of charter schools. That's what it feels like to me. Let's come in and talk very nasty about it. Or the teachers are not teaching. The money is missing. There's so much chaos in these schools. So much malfeasance. We need to wash it all away and create what we want them to have. That's what it feels like. And I'm not shy about my big opinion here. So to me, if the OIG is going to investigate, I think the timing is one of those things. It's election season, all of that good stuff. So we know y'all like to make the biggest splash. But let's be equitable here. We could talk about all of the dilapidation and the deficiencies, but if you do not fund it, if you do not put the resources into it, if your solution is to just crowdfund and then take all of your funding and resources across town, then what does it do for those places that you talk so negatively about, Ms. Cannizzaro? I'm just asking. I want to know. And what is the purpose of releasing pieces of an investigation or an audit before it is full? That is a question for the OIG. I want to know, is that how we normally do business? It's jarring. I want all of our facilities and operations and departments to work in the best interest of all of our citizens. I don't just want the children over at UNO to have nice things. I want the children over in Algiers to have nice things too. There are a couple parks over there that need some tender loving care, and $2 million wouldn't hurt. So, when we hear about what makes the news and what makes the headlines, I'm often curious as to what we pay attention to and why we put so much energy into certain things while ignoring other things. Because if it's about broken down systems, there's a whole bunch of broken down systems going on in our education system, but I don't see anybody at any platform writing about it with the same energy that we're writing about this over and over and over again. There's a whole bunch of mismanagement of money going on in those school systems over and over again. There are children without teachers and nobody's talking about it, but we allow them to wave the banner of success in our face, and there are no teachers in the building making certain that these gains are real. Kids are on computer programs. We have to stop it. We pay attention to everything but the right thing. I wonder, maybe if we get Laura to talk about it. Laura, here's the thing, my girl, because I'm not even mad at the game. I can't hate the player. I can't even hate it. I can't. You happen to have the appearance and the last name to make stuff move. So how about you start looking into these charter schools for us? And maybe you could get all of these people who like to interview you, and maybe your word gonna carry some weight. Because that's what I would like to see. That's what I would like to see. You did it for NORD, baby. Come do it for these schools. I watched you do it. Every article I read, I didn't see not one positive thing about our NORD system. But what I did see was a whole bunch of negativity. And you just got the right energy behind it, saying the same things we've been saying for years. And I told you that in the meeting. None of my opinions are private. I stand 10 toes on anything I say, and I say it with my full chest. So I'm asking you, do me a favor. Start to investigate how some of these schools are moving. Start to get interview. Ask the people to come interview you about how these schools are moving. Where is the money for our babies? Where is it? Because we got teachers and school leaders operating, doing the very best that they can for our children. And then we have CMOs messing with data, trying to tell us that they've somehow moved a mountain with a shovel. I have to laugh sometimes because y'all be thinking I'm angry all the time. I'm really not. I say what I need to say and I move on. But what I will never do is move on when I'm watching children be disserviced. I keep trying to tell y'all a title can't do anything to keep my opinion at bay if I have something to say. Though my career in K-12 may be over, my credential is mine forever. And that gives me the expertise to have these big opinions that's attached to some expertise. And I just happen to know what good schools should look like, what they should feel like, what them budgets should look like. And if you around here throwing big old galas, getting all nice and dressed up, and them kids don't have no books, cancel the party. Yeah, that's what I said. Put your Chanel scarf up in the closet. You don't need to wear it till them literacy rates come up. You don't need no car allowance. Walk until the literacy rates come up. Yeah, that's what I said. You don't need to make the big dollars if your school is not fully staffed. Why do the kids not have teachers in every classroom? But y'all doing so great. Miss me with that. Maybe we could get Miss Canizero to have a conversation with NOLA.com or with WDSU or WWL or Fox. Any one of those people that love to interview her. Maybe she should start asking about the schools. Maybe it might then come together for us. Because it's certainly not me with this terminal degree. But maybe it'll be her. I don't care who do it, as long as it get done. I don't need to be interviewed. As a matter of fact, I start telling the news people that. I said, why don't y'all get somebody else that's currently in schools and interview them? I'm not on nobody's job. I don't want to have an opinion about this. I don't. Why is it always me? Ask somebody else. I'm not the only one that feels this way. But until you do right by my children, I'm going to always have something to say. And if the OIG is investigating NARD and its audits and books and finances and whatnot, there's a whole system of schools that could use some of that attention as well. Because I'm quite frankly sick of the wool that y'all continue to pull over the parents' eyes, making them think their children are scholars, when the large majority of them cannot read on grade level. That's frustrating to me. And then y'all have the audacity to blame them for all of the crime that is happening. Yeah. So that's my big opinion as it relates to making certain that y'all understand that all of these things are connected. Do not think what's happening in NARD is brand new. Do not think that it's separate and apart from what you saw happen to the school system. When the right people start to say all of the things to the right people, somehow it becomes important enough to be a story. So I'm asking Ms. Canizero to do me a favor. And I'll even give you what to say if you don't know what to say, because it don't matter. As long as you saying this stuff gonna move. I get a Cliff Notes if you want them. But somebody ought to be telling the truth about what is happening in these schools. I have a dear friend that tried with a whole segment on her station, and it was pulled after the first episode aired because the people that are in charge didn't like it. The shadow government that actually runs our school system, they didn't like it, so they got it pulled. So, and another thing I'm hoping y'all learn to do, that we all learn to do as a collective, when folk are trying to inform you and, it just happens to be, ill-aligned with your friendships, how about you focus on the facts? Focus on the reality of things, because if my friends were out here disservicing children, first of all, I don't think I could be friends with people that's out here disservicing children. But if I find out that anybody I call friend is out here disservicing children, we're going to have a real conversation and we're going to assess our friendship, because your friendship is not as important to me as the viability of my children. Doc said that. So, yeah. Quiet, I will.
Your thing.
It is my thing. It is my thing. And I'm taking some advice from one of my friends. She told me this is my soft era. She said, Doc, you don't have no business, being all wrapped up in all of this chaos. This is your soft era. I live a very, very, very soft life. Miss Alicia could tell you that. She know. And I eat well. I went to a restaurant too well over the
This weekend?
Yeah, this week, Bone Tone Prime Rib. I had some really good food up in there.
Where's that about?
It's off of Camp, I believe. I'm gonna tell you the address. I'm gonna look it up. But it was really good. I had a good time. Good company. Friends were in town. We had a good time. So please don't think that I'm running around angry all the time, because I'm not. I'm not even angry when I'm passionate. I'm just passionate. I'm not angry. I love children. I love this city. And I love real stuff, like real, REAL, real. I don't do the talk in your face and say something different behind your back. I don't operate like that. So I appreciate authenticity, and that's why, light draws light, and there's a whole lot of light around me,
Sounds like you challenging the OIG and the path of what he and his team are pursuing, at least in this case. But obviously,
I just think the timing is suspect.
Yeah.
The commission has been in existence a very long time, and they've been operating fiscally like that for a very long time. So if you have an issue with their processes, then that should have been, made. They should have been made aware, but they've been doing it like that for a very long time. So you're okay
with them looking at it? You're saying, but why didn't you do this a few years ago?
I'm okay with anybody looking at anything that's going to improve the system.
A few years ago?
So why now? That's what I want to know. It's been, the commission has been in operation since 2010. And they've always been set up that way. But why now are we saying that everything that they're doing doesn't seem to to toe the line properly. Like and here's the thing, don't get me wrong, you can do the wrong thing for a long time. I'm not saying you can't. But what I'm saying is, if we're going to do it, just make certain that it's founded in the objective is about bettering the community. It's not some sort of personal vendetta or trying to pile on to things. Because if the OIG want to look at something, I mean, there's a whole system of schools out there where a whole lot of that is going on. Show me you serious. Investigate them. Investigate them. And if you need help being pointed in a direction of the schools you need to start with, I can help you do that. But I mean, let's just be equitable here. Mm-hmm. I don't pull back on accountability for anybody. I want everybody to be accountable, but I want it to be equitable. We're not going to target certain individuals and certain entities while knowing that other entities and other individuals are doing the same thing, if not worse, and they're untouched. That's all I'm saying. I see you, Don. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to keep talking about it. I hope you don't get tired of listening. Our phone lines are open, 504-582-9422. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
Good morning and happy Monday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. The trial for the man accused of shooting and paralyzing a UNO student is set to begin today. Tata Say is accused of shooting Noah Hansard in August of 2022 during a robbery. Then in 2023, Say made headlines again when he cut off his ankle monitor and took off. He was recaptured a short time later. Say is charged with attempted first-degree murder and armed robbery. And former Orleans Parish 911 Communications Director turned mayoral candidate Tyrell Morris is expected to appear in court today. He is charged with malfeasance in office, insurance fraud, and second-degree injuring of public records. Those charges stem from a WDSU investigation into a car crash Morris was involved in back in 2023. Morris has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Right now, his trial is set to start in August. Then if you drive through the Bywater or the lower 9th Ward, there is a major bridge closure you will want to plan around. The Claiborne Avenue Bridge is closed to all vehicles. That started at 6 a.m. this morning. That closure will run through August 8th at 6 p.m., weather permitting. Crews are doing structural work on the bridge, so expect delays in the area and detours to get around it. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Clutch Sports founder and CEO Rich Paul is a sports super agent, and now, through Masterclass, he wants to share the keys to his success. Masterclass is a subscription-based online learning series featuring world-renowned experts, celebrities, and industry leaders. For Rich Paul, he wants to make sure his Masterclass isn't focused too narrowly on just sports.
I wanted to make sure that I found a balance and not just talking about what happens in the business of sports, because everyone isn't in that business, but giving people what I would say would be a very relatable and understandable perspective on how to evolve.
Paul learned how to negotiate watching his father. In his masterclass, he hopes to pass along some of the same skills that turned him into one of the most successful and well-known agents. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch, y'all. You know how we do every Monday. It's Moving Monday.
And Tuesday, it's Trivia Tuesday.
And y'all know we have nothing but bad cheering coming through here on Wednesday.
But stick with us. On Thursday, we travel.
That's right. And Friday's Free Your Mind Friday, so get your brass up.
Something on your mind? Want to get it off your chest?
Holla at your people. WBOK 1230 AM, the station you listen to
all day long.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Happy Monday. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta Wire. Shout out to my baby intern back there holding it down in the producer role. And my co-host, Will Sutton.
Good morning.
If you're just joining the conversation, we're talking about the OIG's investigation of the NORD Commission and NORD's the Commission's response to the OIG's audit of NORD. Good morning, Don. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Very good morning to Dr. Wyatt and Mr. Sutton.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. I heard you, Dr. Wyatt. You eloquently exposed or expounding on the issue of reading at grade level. Will Smith, the wordsmith, Will Sutton, it's right there. My question is, what are some of the solutions? I know that reading is fundamental, as LeVar Burton reading Rainbow. All of the and the miseducation of the Negro, Dr. Carl G. Woodson, we understand the premise of education for black children, African-American children. So we know that they have to be prepared in a unique way as it pertains to the system. So what are some of the solutions? I've used different tactics and strategies for my children, and even myself. I continue to learn to read more complex words and compositions. But what are some of the solutions? We know that the summer slide is real. Children fall behind in the summer. But some of the solutions I had with my children when they was coming through the K through 12, pre-K through 12, was, and many companies participated in reading during the summer months. For instance, H-E-B, a large supermarket chain based out of Texas, had a reading program. How many you read 10 books, you get a T-shirt and select something from the store. That was, we may think that's small, but as children, it's a big thing to get a T-shirt. And Barnes and Nobles, we had the public library system, had summer reading programs. And then I grew up, I never forget the movie with Keke Palmer and Lawrence Fishburne, Killer the Bee. It's about spelling bees. And I watched the script Spelling Bee on PBS. The words, once the children are exposed to words and letters, they are fascinated by it. But so do you think that children are not being exposed to words in the structural form, or is it just all verbal or oral? Oral, we tend to communicate, as they say, the African-American history is more oral than it is literal. So are we depending on the culture of our people more? So I know there's a bunch there, but what are some solutions going forward that we can reconnect with bringing parents? There's literacy programs for adults as well. Are we not tapping into those systems to help mitigate some of these issues that schools may fall down on? And are we overly dependent on the school system for some of those things that we should learn year-round and throughout the day?
Well, Don, I believe that when the system is complete in terms of community, home, and school working together is where you'll see the best gains. This is not just about what's happening at home, and it's not just about what's happening at school. Because if something is happening at home and it's not being reinforced at school, then they're still going to present areas where gaps can grow. And same thing in reverse, right? If it's happening at school and then it's not reinforced at home, then you're presenting areas where gaps can grow. But what I will tell you is, if you're looking for something to do that is specific to creating graphic gains for kids, look no further than Mississippi. Mississippi, actually, they're the governor, even though they want to put credit where it's not supposed to be, but they went back to teaching reading, utilizing phonics. They invested in teachers. They invested in hiring reading coaches. They spent $15 million a year on reading coaches at the state level. State employees that went into school districts help kids that were struggling to read. They also mandated holding back students who are not meeting certain reading standards by third grade, which is unpopular here in the state of Louisiana because we believe in social promotion. So, I just told you what Mississippi is doing, and they literally were always our neighbors at the bottom, and they've somehow been able to see the gains because they've made long-term investments in literacy.
But Dr. White.
Yes, sir.
That, to me, I know that's fine. That may be fine and then, but that's more of a. I'm not trying to have a dictatorship. I'm not trying to dictate to families. That's more of a dictation. Just like they say they want to put the 10 Commandments in every school.
You said
when God gave
Don,
Moses.
Hold on, Don.
Let's
be clear about what you're saying. Are you saying
I'm close on this. When God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, that was more of a dictation. God told Moses, and that was it. But when you talk about the true essence of the Word of God, it is not just God dictating to us. That's not free will. That's not and what I'm proposing is the enjoyment of reading. The enjoyment, not the dictation of a governor.
I'm not following you, because here's the thing. Even as a school leader, I had literacy mandates in my school, and nobody said it can't be fun. Nobody said that it was just some sort of like I'm dictating. No. That's a part. You asked me what our schools can do. That was your question to me, and I gave it to you, and then you came back and said that we're dictating. I don't understand the correlation between what you just said about the 10 Commandments and what I said Mississippi is doing to improve their academic outcomes as it relates to literacy. I don't see the correlation, and I apologize that I don't see it, but I don't.
Well, if you read the Bible is a combination of God's will and the authors of those different books.
But
their joy was in serving God, not in God dictating to them the Bible, because that's more of a what we have in Islam and the Quran, and so anyway, I won't get bogged down that. But if you look at who wrote the Bible, it wasn't God dictating. It was a combination of these authors' relationship with God in a loving way.
What I said Mississippi is doing, who's dictating? If they're creating a structure for literacy, I didn't say the governor did anything. The superintendent actually did that. The governor just taking credit for it in the article. But the superintendent, he put a system together over time that was based in literacy to help improve the reading outcomes for the children in Mississippi. Where is the dictatorship in that? Because there was no mandate to do it one particular way. He put a mandate out that that literacy had to improve, and there had to be a reading structure all across the state of Mississippi in terms of his role as the superintendent. So I don't know where the dictatorship comes in at, but what I do know is they put the investment there, and they're seeing the fruits of their investment.
Is this a fully funded mandate?
It can't work without funding.
So it's fully funded.
They have all the
resources they need to carry out that mandate.
A year.
Oh, okay, that's new for Republicans.
Well, that's what happened, Don. I gotta go, but I appreciate you, Don.
In that particular case, they were listening to their constituents who said you must do better.
Yeah, we gotta read. We gotta read on grade level. Thank you, Don. I appreciate you.
All right, you're welcome.
But again, to be clear, in 2013, Mississippi lawmakers implemented a Literacy-Based Promotion Act, which focused on early literacy and teacher development. And they invested $15 million a year on reading coaches at the state level and state employees that went into the school and school districts to help kids struggling to read. Good morning, Ms. Dupree. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. The conversation started off real good and then it took a turn, but I wanted to touch on the question about what can you do to help and assist with
bring
reading,
us back.
right? Yes, I wanted to bring it back to this because I am a reading specialist. That is one of my areas.
Wonderful.
So there are 5 pillars to reading, and so they are, Doc, back me up, phonemic awareness, that means you're able to hear the sounds in letters and words. Phonics, where you're able to decode, that's where help, like when you hear kids breaking words down, they use their phonics or their phonemic awareness, phonics awareness to decode. And then you have fluency. Fluency is the rate at which you can read. In a lot of schools, if they see that you have good fluency, they ignore that you don't know what it is that you just read. That's a conversation I've been having for a long time. And then vocabulary and comprehension. Am I on the right track so far?
Yep, that is the 5 big ideas of reading.
All right. So for students, again, every year up to a certain grade, I don't think they use this system the way they should because you can use it up to 6th grade. But when you hear about DIBELS can assess fluency and comprehension, but a lot of schools use only the rate at which students are able to read the words. And reading, it's a misnomer to say that they can read. It means that they have an ability to break down words so that they can say them. Does it look right? Does it sound right? Does it make sense? But a combination of words, reading, the definition of it is to gain meaning from text. A lot of people are hanging their hats that their child can read based on the fact that they can decode, on the fact that they can read at a certain pace, and you have to have all of those things working together in order to see the improvement of reading. So I wanted to go back to the initial conversation of how do we help people. My grandfather's litmus test was if you could read the Sunday paper. The Lexile level was 6th grade. If you are constantly sitting with and listening to your children read and then asking them if they understood or to tell you about what it was that just happened, and then not just ask the surface level questions, go into like, well, what do you think is going to happen if this continues that way? Because that's when you activate children's thinking. We don't want them to be robots, but we need to have conversations with parents, not just say to them saying, okay, your kid met this particular metric and leave the rest of them off and assume that they are going to excel. And that is a lot of what happens in the schools with all the pretty graphs as we have talked about it. I think that's all I got.
Well, I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Listen, I want to be very, very clear. Like when I don't understand something, I'm gonna ask, and I still, and maybe you can help me out, Will. I didn't understand Don's correlation because I don't know why does implementing a literacy program or standard, why is it being made synonymous with dictatorship? I didn't get that. I mean, the goal of education is just that. Like, if the kids are not performing, why are we passing them on? And then if they're not performing, then we have to figure out ways to put a formula together that works to improve student outcomes. So I don't understand. It says while red states like Mississippi and Louisiana are seeing great strides, blue states like California are seeing an education decline since the pandemic. According to Cal Matters, 60% of 3rd graders did not read at grade level in 2024. That's nationwide. Mm-hmm. That is not one state. Mm-hmm. That is nationwide. So I'm not understanding if 60% of our student population in this country is not reading. The 60% of the 3rd grade population in our country is not reading on grade level. How is that not a crisis? And how is it being made synonymous with dictatorship? I don't know. I didn't get it down, and I try to understand it, and I'm just not there. But I do know they put their money where their mouth was. They invested not only the funding for the children, but they invested in growing the teachers as well, so that they can be able to help the children in the best way possible. But I want to make a clarification to something because I got some feedback based on my commentary that I had regarding the North Sea and the OIG's investigation. I want to be very clear. This was not me attacking Laura Cannizzaro. What I said about Laura Cannizzaro is what I meant. And regarding the meeting the meeting was absolutely set. I'm supposed to be meeting with her. I wasn't feeling well. So I had to reschedule the meeting. That's why I said I'm still open, to meeting. I was sick. I don't even like the word sick. I just wasn't feeling well. And I needed
a good day.
So yeah, I just wasn't feeling well. And I mean, and again, she was very, very accommodating and wanting to meet with me as well. So that was no attack there. My point of talking about her was this idea that when she started to talk about the dilapidation of NAR, people started to listen, even though folk had been pointing out things that, places where NAR could improve years before her. But when she started talking about it, everybody interviewed her. There was article upon article, which I believe is the foundation for this OIG investigation in terms of the timing of it. That's what it looks like to me, right? Might not be what it is factually, but that's how it looks. All of these articles came out. There's this big old talk about what NARD is not doing it, and all of a sudden there's this audit happening. So the timing made it look like it was, based on all of the information, because a lot of it was told to me that a lot of the points that the OIG made were points that Laura Cannizzaro made, right? And again, I'm not knocking the points she made. If they are factual, cool. We all want to be held accountable. I'm not knocking that. What I'm saying is I don't want her or anybody else to think that her specifically speaking on it with the last name she carries didn't make a difference, because it does. Because people have been talking about this long before she did. A lot of people before me were talking about it long before I did. So it wasn't anything new. But what the problem I had was that if you found all of these deficiencies, how is creating a whole nother entity going to improve those systems that you found all of these deficiencies with? And I know that they're working now to find some sort of resolution that incorporates all kids, and I'm with that. I will support that. And just as big as my opinion is about it, when the outcome happens and it serves all kids, or there's a solution for all kids, I'll get on the same microphone and be very loud about that as well. So I want to be very clear. It wasn't that Ms. Cannizzaro did not want to meet. She absolutely wanted to meet. Off the rip, she wanted to meet. It was no, I have to think about it, let me look. No, she absolutely wanted. I wasn't feeling well. So that's why I said I'm very much still open to meeting, because I do believe that sometimes it's just about the right people being in the room, having the right conversation to understand where the miscommunication happened. And from where I sat, it looked like an attack on an entity that I know I depended on as a kid. And I wanted to make certain that attack wasn't going to take that away from other children who also depend on it, to make sure that they have what they need in terms of recreation or just safe spaces, after school and during the summer. That's my stance there. So I want to tell people all the time, I am not above correction. Right? If you feel like I went too far with something, if I trust you, I'm gonna take in what you're saying. Right? And so the person who gave me that feedback, I trust. And I don't have a problem saying, let me clarify that. So that was no way, shape, or form an attack on Laura Cannizzaro. What I said about her today is what I said before, what I said in a meeting with her. The only difference is, to clarify about the meeting, she absolutely was very accommodating and wanted to meet. And I can't do anything but respect that. And I have no problem meeting with her.
It sounds like that's going to be coming.
Oh, yeah. And as a matter of fact, Laura, I still don't feel great, but I got to work.
Yeah, right.
So I got to work, so I got to get up. But I promise you, when I'm not working, I'm at home, because I just don't feel my best. And I try not to go around a multitude of people when I don't feel my best. I'm not sick. I just don't feel well. And if you know me well enough, I have a chronic situation that I deal with. And it happens, sparingly. But when it happens, it puts me out of commission, no pun intended with the NAR commission, but it puts me out of commission. And I just need to rest. So if what I said earlier in the segment didn't land right on you, please understand that I am not above correction. That is how I grow. So thank you for the feedback. And look, they hit my phone, because they know my number personally. So they text my phone and said, hold on now, Doc. I was like, oh, what I say?
But the only correction here is it's more clarification about the meeting.
Absolutely.
There's no clarification or correction
the substance
about
of
how
what I
you
said
feeling
stands,
about
yes.
that. That's not what you're talking about.
No. And here's the thing. I don't have any personal vendetta against Laura Cannizzaro. Like I said, I appreciate the accountability part. If there are some gaps in NORD that need to be called out, cool, but we're not going to pretend like this is a new thing. Like people have always had a grievance. What's the difference? You have a Canizero saying it, and that's just that's how I feel. And I said that in a meeting with her, and that's no knock against her. That's her name. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If your name holds some weight, use your weight. I'm not mad with it, but what I'm saying is make certain that we're doing so to the betterment of all kids, not just for a certain demographic of children. That's all I'm saying, and all I ever ask for is equity. I don't want to take from anybody's child to give to somebody else's child. Right. No, I want to create systems where everybody's babies can benefit. That's all.
Right.
So the clarification there is, yes, she absolutely wanted to meet off the rip, no hesitation. And I give her, I tilt my hat to that. Because not many people want to talk directly to me. They just want to believe whatever they're told about me. Absolutely. But she absolutely wanted to meet. Yeah. And that is why I keep accountability partners in my circle, right? You have people that hold you accountable to the things that you say, especially when you're sitting on a big old mic. And I don't have a problem being corrected. And I love my friends for keeping me accountable. So the person knows who they are, and they know that I have big love and big respect for them. So I have no problem. I am not above correction. That is how I grow. That's what makes my voice reputable, because I'm not above reproach. And I love accuracy, right? Don't misinterpret what I said, and if you have a question about it, just ask me to clarify it. But yeah, shout out to Laura Canizero. And again, I still say the same thing. If you could talk about the NARC Commission and get that kind of traction, I want you to help me talk about these schools so that our babies can have access to fully funded schools that work for all children and not just certain kids. I meant that. So there's my take there.
Yeah,
we got to go to break.
Okay. Yep.
But when we come back, we're going to keep talking about it, and I hope you keep listening. Look, the phone lines are open, 504-582-9422. At the top of the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to hear from the Honorable Darren Lombard as it relates to qualifying and what's next. Because you know what's next, right?
Yeah,
you know what's next?
The field is not set.
Challenge. That's what's next. Y'all stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
All day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Hot and humid across southeast Louisiana today with highs in the low to mid-90s. A heat advisory is in effect as feels-like temperatures climb to 108 to 110 degrees. Scattered storms are possible late morning into the afternoon, bringing heavy rain, lightning, and gusty winds. Most activity fades after sunset. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wise. Shout out to my little intern baby pointing his finger saying, now it's your turn to talk, Doc. And my co-host, Will Sutton.
Good morning.
It is Monday. It's the Monday after qualifying week, and things are going to get interesting as the days move along. So at the top of the 8 o'clock hour, we'll hear from the Honorable Darren Lombard talking about qualifying and what's next. Did Darren Lombard draw a challenge? I believe he did. Did he?
Yes, he did.
He the only folk who did not have challengers for their seat is Councilwoman Leslie Harris and the Honorable Chelsea Napoleon.
That's correct.
Those are the only seats who that have been, they'll continue to do the work that they're doing on behalf of their constituents. So congratulations to those two elected officials who did not draw a challenge to their seat. That is Councilwoman Leslie Harris and the Honorable Chelsea Napoleon. Listen, so we're going to hear from him at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. But while we have a few minutes, we want to tilt our hat to the city of New Orleans. This is per the data from the first half of 2025, and it suggests that the city is on pace for its safest year statistically since the 1970s. That is a 50-year low in killings in 2025. They're on pace for a 50-year low in killings in 2025. And what I will say is, congratulations to the current chief of police and all of those officers on the New Orleans Police Department's force. But a lot of folk also would like to put former interim superintendent Michelle Wilfork's name in this because the shift started to happen under her leadership. And so we like to give credit where credit is due. And we want to make certain that, if something is happening and it sheds positive light on our city, we want to make certain that we celebrate that and all of those who had a hand in making certain that is a possibility. We deserve to have a safe city, and we deserve to have a city that works for all people. And that is going to be the sentiment that you hear because it's election season, right? But this is according to the data. It says when it comes to killings, the city is on pace for its safest year statistically since the early 1970s. Preliminary NOPD data show 53 murders in 2025 as of Thursday. That count includes the 14 revelers slain in the January 1st terrorist attack. When the guy drove a Ford F-150 down Bourbon Street hours into the new year. Fatal shooting incidents fell by nearly half through June, while carjackings declined by a third over the same period last year. And this is the New Orleans-based founder of AH Datalytics. Asher is the name. He provides analysis on criminal justice for police forces and other clients. The data echoes a national trend. A number of other hard-hit U.S. cities are also seeing steep declines in murders. The common feature in New Orleans and elsewhere, a flood of attention and money from the American Rescue Plan Act and other sources, public and private, aimed at reversing the surge. So shout out to the New Orleans Police Department, Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick, and former interim superintendent Michelle Woodfork for all of the work to ensure that we see numbers trending in the right direction as it relates to crime in our city.
I do want to shout out the community groups who work with our youth.
Oh, yeah.
So often, what's not reflected in the data is all the people who aren't making the news.
The unsung heroes.
The unsung heroes.
Yeah.
The men and women who care about these kids so much that they devote so much of their time and energy and resources to see that they stay on track or get back on track or get off track, and then let's see what we can do to bring you back.
Yeah, there's
a lot of that work.
Yeah, I know Brother Mims has been in the street working against violent crime for years. I've done a lot of work with him. I know Bradisha Harness. She does a lot of work with the youth, using sports as a vehicle to do so. There are a number of entities, and I'm talking about people who don't get any funding to do this work either. These are people like Noonan Man, people who give to the community without the fanfare of cameras or articles being written about them. They go out and do the work tirelessly on behalf of community. And a lot of the times you see the same folk. I can go to a rally and I can see the same people, and they're out there each and every time, using their voices or just showing up to support initiatives that are out there to curb violent crime. So, we don't have a whole exhaustive list of those people, but I just named some people off the top of my head that I know are out there, oftentimes spending money out their own pocket, and community groups such as the New Orleans United Front. There are people in that entity who, separate from NOF, are doing things to be change makers in terms of going to city council meetings, holding elected officials accountable, going to school board meetings, holding elected officials accountable. It's the same group of people that you'll find in these rooms. And when this data comes out and they're giving kudos, and that was a very good point, Will, so thank you for that. When they're giving kudos to the people who work in that entity, like the police department, police chief, it oftentimes does not touch on the people who don't have titles or don't have organizations to name, but they're out there nonetheless availing themselves to community just for the betterment of community. So shout out to our unsung heroes. And you know what? I'm going to start getting those names so we can start talking about them and just, shouting them out here and there as the days go on. But I definitely...
it's just not reflected in the data. And I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Kind of looking at the numbers, and this is up and down in this category of crime and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we got all kinds of categories of kids that are being affected for the better.
Yeah.
And it's more than a notion. Yes, some of them have formal nonprofits.
Yeah.
Some of them have coalitions. Some of them work on their own.
Yeah.
And some of them, they work with the same 4 or 5 people. You call a meeting and just nobody else comes except these 3, 4 people, but they get the job done.
Shout out to our unsung heroes
the job done.
And the New Orleans Police Department for this trend that we like to see go in that direction.
I'm going to add this though. I'm going to add this with the police department, the DA, the judges, the different city and justice system partners. One thing has been consistent over this course of the recent years. A lot of flack on a number of things, but the mayor has been the same.
Listen,
the mayor has been the same.
We'll talk about it. I have to take a break here because we have to hear a word from our sponsors, because sponsorships keeps this vehicle rolling. And my baby intern is getting upset with me because he told me 2 minutes ago that we have to go to break. Y'all, look, I see the Honorable Darren Lombard on the phone. Right. I see a couple callers. I'm going to catch y'all on the other side. Give me a minute. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
New Schools for New Orleans, along with New Orleans Public Schools and the Cowell Institute, are excited to announce the launch of a new digital tool on the data dashboard. New Orleans Public Schools, 20 years later, a timeline of recovery, transformation, and growth. The tool provides data, information, and context on the past 20 years of K-12 education in New Orleans, the changes that occurred, and the outcomes these changes helped produce. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com/K20 to view the tool and learn more.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump says he's satisfied with the investigation into last year's assassination attempt at his Butler, Pennsylvania rally.
They're very talented, very capable. They had a bad day, and I think they'll admit that. They had a rough day.
Despite Secret Service failures and 6 agent suspensions, Trump told Fox News he still trusts his team. Black 7-year-old Jamal White is safe after being abducted at gunpoint in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was taken Friday evening by masked men in a white Jeep. Found nearly 24 hours later, police have arrested at least one suspect, but the investigation is still ongoing. And boxing legend Layla Ali is teasing a possible return to the ring for the right price. After praising the Serrano Taylor trilogy, Ali said she'd consider a comeback for $15 to $20 million. Boxing champ Claressa Shields has long called for the showdown, billing it as a battle for the GOAT title. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Show. Happy Monday, everybody. Well, more importantly, happy Monday after qualifying, everybody. I am your host of the Good Morning Show, Dr. Ashanta White. Shout out to my intern. I have a new intern, the young lady holding it down for the ladies in the building, and my co-host, Will Sutton.
Good morning.
Listen, we're getting ready to hear from the Honorable Darren Lombard, but before we do, we'll take a call from Miss Alicia. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Oh, you could have taken the Honorable Darren.
Now he got a whole segment, so I had to kind of squeeze you in before we get him on the phone.
Right. Hello, Honorable Darren Lombard. Sorry to go ahead of you, but I just want to say real quickly, Doc, you are no different than the candidate you were on the street. Mm-hmm. And what you and I have in common is, and we both learned this from our mentor, Dr. Bowie.
Yes.
Take the meeting.
Yes.
Always take the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I bring a lot of stuff to Dr. Bowie just for consult, and he'll always tell me, Leash, take the meeting. It's all about relationships.
Yeah.
There are 2 guys, I don't want to mention their names, who people talk about, in a political realm. But if I call these 2 guys when it comes to children and donations and contribution, it's always, how much do you need, Miss Plummer? How much do you want me to give, Miss Plummer? And they write the checks. You and I know for sure I was not good friends with Congressman Carter. You know
facts.
that.
I was in the vehicle when you cussed him out.
But I was when they were reaching out to me when he was running for Congress, Dr. Bowie, again, take the meeting. And I took the meeting. And it is about relationships. More people need to stop complaining and get relationships. Linda Lewis of Lewis Armstrong Family Services, she called me one time. There was a family of 8. The mother had just passed. They were not going to have a good Christmas. I called Congressman Carter's executive assistant, Winfred, and I put so much on Winfred because I don't want to bother the congressman straight up all the time. And when I tell you, they stopped what they were doing immediately because I think he was in the middle of giving out toys on the West Bank. And they got with Miss Lewis, and they got and took care of that family of 8. So it's about relationships and stuff. And I've learned a lot sitting under Sherman Copeland. I see when Sherman was doing things, and I know he was sitting in audiences with people who couldn't stand him. And I'm like, why you even give them the time of day? I learned from him that you still have to deal with your enemy because you can learn from your enemy. So that's one thing I love about you. You take the meetings, and you always listen to on both sides. And when I say we need more warriors out there, Aaron, I love Aaron, and you know, he and I have been talking a lot. People, we need more warriors out there, and if we had more warriors in the streets, we would do much better, and we would get better results. So I just want to, you know, give you some ups. And I missed you Friday, Dr. Wyatt.
I know. I had the wrong time, and I was at home trying to rest. I'm like, I'm going to get up. I set my alarm and everything. And if you had not texted me, I would have been there at the wrong time.
Girl, I saw you, though. I saw you there.
I'm sorry. I had the wrong
wait,
time.
You and Matlock,
so much.
you and Matlock are going to have to break up. Y'all going to have to break up.
I'm sorry I missed it. I really wanted to be there. I'm sorry I missed it. But I know you were there, so I'll get the full rundown.
Well, that was definitely a relationship space for Miss Alicia.
Oh, yeah. She shines in those kinds of spaces. But thank you, Miss Alicia. I appreciate you.
Y'all have a good one.
You too. Right. Listen, I am growing, and I'm learning things, and I want people to understand something about me. I am not above reproach. I am not above correction. And if you actually take the time to talk to me, I'm actually easy to talk to. Like we have good conversation, and I'm fun to talk to. So look, you know, I just be about the business, and long as the business get cleared, I don't have no problem with it. I just want what's right for all babies. That's it. That's all I want. But right now, the man of the hour is on the line, and I want to get all of the information as it relates to qualifying and what's next. We have the Honorable Darren Lombard. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
How you doing? And I'm sorry I had to take Miss Alicia before you, and she also apologized too. So I apologize for having you on hold. Go ahead.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. Look, it's good. It's all good. She's somebody I have a good working relationship with too.
Good. What you say? So qualifying is over, Mr. Lombard, and you also drew a challenge to your seat as well. What's next? Now that all of the folk have put their names out there in contention for public office, what's next?
Well, the first thing is that we have to get past a period where it's like a week, 7 days after close of qualifying, where a candidacy can be challenged. So once you get past that point, you really get your campaign going in earnest. You're reaching out to your community leaders, your pastors, your neighbors, your friends, your family, and you're going to be trying to raise money and get your support up. So, and you are well aware of this. It's a long journey and a lot of people you got to touch.
So, yeah, I still have PTSD.
So we got, and correct me if I'm wrong, we got 14 mayoral candidates. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
how's that compare to other recent mayoral qualifying periods?
It's about the same. I think last time we may have 10, and the time before that, right around 14, 15. It's comparable to what's the norm as of the last 2-3 election cycles. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of people who really want to get involved in trying to affect some sort of change and feel like they can do a good job. So, and I think it's a healthy thing. Some people complain that, these people are getting in the way of other candidates and causing runoffs and things like that. But at the end of the day, as a whole, I think it's a good thing for anyone to be able to, as long as they're qualified, to get involved in the process.
Well, I will say this. At the time of our broadcast on Friday, you had one challenger. Kelvin Duncan is now on the list as well. So there are two challengers to the seat for clerk of criminal district court. He qualified on the last day, which was July 11th. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to add that, as well as the assessor. There's another person who was not there at the time of our broadcast, Corey Gerard Dowden. So now there are 4 people, including the incumbent, vying for the office of assessor. No one challenged the coroner, so we didn't say that. The coroner is also going back into his seat because there was no challenge for Coroner Dwight McKenna. I'm correct there, right?
Yes.
And District B, the incumbent Leslie Harris, no challengers, correct?
No challenge.
And then for the mayoral seat, as of the time of our
we do have one more that did not receive a challenge, and that was Clerk of Civil District Court, Chelsea Napoleon.
Yeah, we named named her at the top of the broadcast. We named her and Leslie Harris, but what I did not know was that the coroner didn't draw a challenge. I didn't know that as of this morning. I opened up the list just now, and when we did our last broadcast, we did not have Joseph Joe Beluga Bakulich Jr. I done butchered that man's name so bad, my God. He's running for the office of mayor. And then Manny Chevrolet Bruno is also running for the office of mayor. Gabrielle Harris Thomas is running for the office of mayor as well. So those are names that we did not have access to as of 9 a.m. on Friday. So now there's 14 challengers for the vacant mayoral seat. And when it comes to the council member at large Division 1, all of that field is set is Delisha Boyd, Matt Hill, and Matthew Willard.
Correct.
But the council member at large Division 2 has another challenger, Kenneth Cutno. He was not on the list as of Friday at 9 a.m. So now it's Kenneth Cutno, Gregory Manning, and they're challenging J.P. Morrell, who is the incumbent for the at large Division 2 seat. And I think as far as the council member District C, that is Freddie King's seat. He is the incumbent. He has a new challenger by way of Elliot Barron. So now he has 3 folk challenging him for his seat, 4 people total running for council member District C. And also council member District D, Kevin Griffin Clark has entered that race. He was not on the list as of Friday at 9 a.m. So now you have Belden Noonan Baptiste, Eugene Green, Kevin Griffin Clark, and Leilani Heno. Is that correct? Correct, Clerk?
That's correct.
And then, oh my goodness, and in District E, there is Kimberly Burbank. She was not on the list as of Friday at 9 a.m. She registered or qualified on July 11th, as did Gavin Richard. He qualified on July 11th. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people vying for the council member District E seat. So what do you make of this, Clerk? Is this barring any challenges, do you think these high numbers are going to hold in these different races?
Typically they do. We get challenges every election where we have to go to court and attest to who's in the race and did they qualify and did they do their oath and things of that and do the certification, things of that nature. And then it runs throughout the court system. It depends on how much a given candidate or someone who's opposing the candidate, how much they want to pursue it. If they're unsuccessful in district court, they can appeal it to the full circuit. And then if they're unsuccessful at that point, they can appeal it to the Supreme Court. So it has to go through at least 3 separate steps, potentially, before it's final.
We have a caller on line 1. Good morning, Miss Kim. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. You're on with the Honorable Darren Lombard.
Good morning. Hey, Mr. Darren, I actually wanted to, I didn't want to talk about
We didn't lock him. I'm sorry. Excuse me, Miss Kim. You can go with your question. We're going to get him back on the phone to answer it. Go ahead with your question, though. I'm sorry.
Say, listen, I actually didn't want to have a conversation about the election. I wanted to touch on the unsung heroes, and I'm not going to stay long. I just want to challenge all of the unsung heroes to please, 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 please prioritize your mental health, because you can get lost so bad in the community work. You can get lost in putting the needs of the community before yourself, and then you just crash and burn. So I'm just asking all of the unsung heroes to prioritize your mental health and just to breathe and recognize your humanity while you're doing the work.
Oh, absolutely. That is a very, very good point, and I appreciate you, and thank you for your service to the community as well and all you do to stand in the gap for not just children, but for the community as a whole. So thank you again. I didn't call your name out, but you know that I know that you're out there doing what is needed. You're a gap filler. That's what we do. We do what's needed. So thank you. And that is Kim DeLosa. If you did not recognize the voice, that is Kim DeLosa, affectionately known as the godmother of NOLA. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. I lost the he's coming back. I lost him for a second. But are you back? Mr. Lombard.
Yes, I'm back.
I'm
All right,
sorry.
great,
I lost you.
great. All right.
I failed to also mention that as of Friday at 9 a.m., we did not have Robert Bob Murray or Julian Parker. They qualified on July 11th as well for the sheriff's seat, as did the incumbent Susan Hudson. So now there are 5 challengers to that seat. 6 people in total, including the incumbent, are running for the sheriff of New Orleans.
Yes, that is correct.
So,
Okay.
so we were talking about what's next. You said you talked to us about the challenging process. So, barring any successful challenges, we could literally see a field of 14 people running for mayor. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
And barring any successful challenges, we can see 11, 12. How many people in the East race? 11 of them, I believe.
11, I believe,
I
District
think
E.
11. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big. Yeah.
And so this is a very crowded field. I wonder, Clerk, what do we do to ensure that everybody has equity in terms of voice? Because we know these forums are going to happen, and I mean, this is outside of your scope. This is just you and I talking. Like, how do we even accommodate this number of people to ensure that the constituents have an opportunity to hear from everybody in an open and equitable manner? That's the challenge now. That's our challenge. You dealing with political challenges, and that's our challenge, right? How do we make space for all of these voices is the question.
I think the best way is to make announcements, public announcements, as you always do, to make people aware. Now, the other thing you can do is every candidate has every candidate has their information posted on the website.
Yes.
So those candidates can be reached either via email or their phone numbers. So that's another way to reach out and make contact and make sure that you spread the word on whatever function. For community leaders, we have a lot of people who have forums and, meet and greets and things of that nature. That's the best way to reach out to them to get them involved in whatever it is that's going on.
Well, listen, I want to go ahead, Will.
So how's that? Do you remember having 11 candidates for a district seat?
Repeat your question. I'm sorry.
Do you remember us having 11 candidates for a district seat?
District C?
No, any council district.
Yeah.
11?
I think there was another one a few years back. I think at the last cycle, it was either 10.
Mm-hmm.
It was right around 10 or so the last time. And I mean, that's pretty common. I mean, you got a lot of folks that are in the community that want to get involved,
Yep. And if somebody wants to challenge, what do they need to do?
They have to find an attorney, somebody who's very versed in the election process and how to go about those steps. They draw up a suit, they file it with the clerk of civil district court, and then it goes from that point.
Okay. Very good.
Well, I always appreciate you making space for us, and we wish you well on your election cycle. Because we do know you drew challenges as well, so we wish you well in that regard. But I'm hoping that you respond to us because we would like to see you at our candidate forum, and I'm going to personally make sure I text you and say we sent out the email. You need to respond. We need to see you in the building. So thank you so much. We've been in conversation with the Honorable Darren Lombard. Thank you, sir, for availing yourself to us to give us the information as it relates to qualifying and what happens next. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. I'll be in touch.
Look, it's a crowded field out there. It's a crowded field. And if you want to see the list for yourself, just go to the Secretary of State's website. And when you get on the website, there's literally in red, you'll see qualified candidates. So on the home screen for the Secretary of State, you will see in red at the very top, see qualified candidates, and you can click the red and you will see the entire list of candidates who are running for office. You'll see their email addresses. So if you want to email them and ask them very direct, specific questions, you could do so. So go to Secretary of State. You can literally type Secretary of State in, hit enter, the page will come up. But if you want the exact page, it's sos.la.gov, and you'll be able to see a red letters that say see qualified candidates. You can click on it and you'll see every person who is vying for public office. We have to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue to talk about the news, state and national, and
Essence Fest.
And Essence Fest. Will Sutton has a follow-up to the original column, and this column, I believe, is focusing on what next steps.
Yep.
Next steps. Y'all stay with us right here. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning and happy Monday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. The trial for the man accused of shooting and paralyzing a UNO student is set to begin today. Tata Say is accused of shooting Noah Hansard in August of 2022 during a robbery. Then in 2023, Say made headlines again when he cut off his ankle monitor and took off. He was recaptured a short time later. Say is charged with attempted first-degree murder and armed robbery. And former Orleans Parish 911 communications director turned mayoral candidate Tyrell Morris is expected to appear in court today. He is charged with malfeasance in office, insurance fraud, and second-degree injuring of public records. Those charges stem from a WDSU investigation into a car crash Morris was involved in back in 2023. Morris has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Right now, his trial is set to start in August. Then if you drive through the Bywater or the Lower Ninth Ward, there is a major bridge closure you will want to plan around. The Claiborne Avenue Bridge is closed to all vehicles. That started at 6 a.m. this morning. That closure will run through August 8th at 6 p.m., weather permitting. Crews are doing structural work on the bridge, so expect delays in the area and detours to get around it. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Have you ever imagined yourself on the sidelines of the big game, representing athletes in negotiations, working in sports medicine? We're calling all high school students interested in a future career in sports. The Starting Block, a program created by the family of my dear friend, the late chef Leah Chase, and by yours truly, Arnie Filko, is accepting applications now for our third cohort, which begins this fall. Participants in this prestigious program learn from the experts in sports administration, marketing, broadcast journalism, and more. Run in partnership with Tulane's Center for Sport, the Starting Block incorporates real-life experiences shadowing local sports teams alongside classroom instruction led by the best in the field. If you're a rising freshman, sophomore, or junior across the metro New Orleans area interested in a future career in sports, please visit thestartingblocknola.com. Thestartingblocknola.com now to learn more and to apply for our 18-month free program.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Shout out to my super producer and the interns under his leadership, Mr. Nyron Sanders, and my co-host, Will Sutton.
Good morning.
Listen, it's been quite the conversation. We've been talking about qualifying and what's next by way of the Honorable Darren Lombard. We also talked about the OIG's audit of the North Sea Commission, as well as the city and North's response to the OIG Commission's findings. And we also took some calls. So shout out to the folk who are engaging and listening in the chat, and all of those of you who are streaming. We appreciate you for tuning in, and we appreciate you for coming to us each and every morning. Y'all can spend y'all mornings any kind of way, but y'all spend them on air with us, and we appreciate you. But right now, we're going to talk about the news. And one of the things, Will, before we get to all things nice and bubbly about Essence, I don't know if it's nice and bubbly, but before we get to that, Louisiana has been accused of keeping inmates past release dates. Has the system improved? So that is an article that is out right now, and it's so germane to talking about elections, because one of the races that are up is sheriff, and I don't think folk understand that the sheriff has nothing to do with the housing as it relates to who gets released. She only has to do what. Yeah, she does what the courts and the systems say to do. So this is saying, this article is saying that the state of Louisiana is being accused of holding inmates beyond their release date. It says for years, this over-detention has drawn criticism from federal judges and investigators and spurred multiple lawsuits. But now state officials say they have made big strides toward fixing the issue. This is not going to be an issue going forward. That's a bold statement to make.
It is. See that's going to be one that is bookmarked.
That comes back.
That is bookmarked.
Because that's the general counsel at the Louisiana Department of Public Safety and Corrections. That is a bold statement.
Put that on a placard.
Yes, this is not going to be an issue moving forward. He said this at a May meeting at the House Civil Law Committee. And he also said, I don't believe it's an issue. I really don't. And you won't find anybody in our agency to say otherwise. That sounds like some, what Don called it, dictatorship?
This is a dictate. You will not say this.
You're not going to find anybody to talk about it because I told them they better not say nothing. That's what it sounds like. How will listen?
You will not say this.
I can sum that up. The agency set up an online portal where clerks of court and sheriffs can electronically submit an offender sentencing information, speed up the calculation process. So that's on the sheriff to do? That's a bit weird. So the sheriff can electronically submit an offender sentencing information, speeding up the calculation process. And a state law passed last year gives incarcerated people less good time, in quotation marks, credit, which means fewer people will be immediately eligible for release upon sentencing, according to the council. He's the council. Inmates in Louisiana can earn such credits for good behavior shaving off their sentence. On top of all that, the state is getting ready to launch a program that will perform automated release date calculations. The ability to compute time accurately was heavily affected by local variables out of the state's control. Well, whose control was it in? He said local variables. Did you hear that? So it sounds to me like he's saying it's not our fault on the state. The local people don't know what they're doing. Got to be y'all. That's what it says, right? The ability to compute time accurately was heavily affected by local variables out of the state's control, including whether the pretrial paperwork was provided in a timely fashion, the individual spent in pretrial custody, as well as the sentence given. And this is a quote from Attorney General Liz Murrow. She said in a statement, this system has been overhauled that has dramatically diminished, if not completely eliminated, this problem. Now, listen, there's also an article out there, and I don't know if your platform did it, but there's an article out there talking about the governor's intent to take over New Orleans. But you see, when we were saying that on air at WBOK, we were fear-mongering. People were talking about something. There is no takeover. The governor Now the articles and the journalists are starting to say he's aiming to take over. I believe did Equity Media print something? Let me go look. Let me find it. I mean, thank 504. I'm gonna go see if they printed something. But there are articles out there, and maybe you can find it quicker than me, Will. But there are articles out there, and the headlines are talking about a state takeover of New Orleans. But when we were saying that right here on the airwaves, specifically me, because I saw it. And I don't even need a third eye, but I saw it. And when you have statements like this lends itself to the idea that we can't govern ourselves here, that we are incapable of having structure here. We have lawlessness here because the quote, and I'm going to say it again, said the ability to compute time accurately was heavily affected by local variables out of the state's control. I bet you they talk about this city.
Oh,
I guarantee they talk about New Orleans, right? Because what you're talking about if you're not talking about New Orleans, we are the crown jewel. Right, we are the be all and end all. Anybody coming to Louisiana, they coming for New Orleans. That's what it is. But I heard the food is good in the 337, so maybe they going down there to eat. But they coming here as well. I heard the food is good there. But some people are saying they aren't sure the problem has been resolved, and you can count me in that number. I don't know where you sit at, Will, but the problem is not resolved. I told y'all right here on the airwaves. What was that? 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in court.
Yeah,
and the judge was literally livid with the prosecution or the state, let's say, because the young man that was standing before him had no reason to still be incarcerated. He said, I don't know what y'all doing, but I'm going to let him go. You know what I mean? And so that is absolutely still happening. So I have the quote says, I have seen no data supporting that the system has resolved itself. And William Most, an attorney who represents plaintiffs in over-detention cases. Most is one of the lawyers handling the 2 class action lawsuits. So how has the problem been resolved if there are class action lawsuits? That means there are multiple people who have experienced this over-detention. Is that not correct?
Ongoing. Must be
so
ongoing.
How is it resolved?
No.
See, that says, you remember when the
it sounds like we want to add an additional definition to the Merriam-Webster.
When the state superintendent said they're making all of these gains, and then he said they plateaued. Now, are they still gaining or have they plateaued? Make it make sense, sir. So they're saying the system has resolved itself, but this attorney who is representing 2 of the class action lawsuits is saying that that's not really the truth. When they say they have fixed the problem, I'm not sure that they have. That is State Rep C. Denise Marcel, a Democrat out of Baton Rouge. At this point, I'm a little skeptical. Me too, Rep. I'm a little skeptical. There's criticism of the state system. In January 2023, the U.S. DOJ released a report saying that Louisiana held thousands of inmates past their release date each year, and that problem went all the way back to 2012. But now they're telling us in 2025 that the problem is non-existent, that it's somehow resolved, fixed. Do you believe that, Reverend Calhoun? Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
You know I don't believe that.
Why you don't believe that, Reverend Calhoun?
Well,
the people
I
said they have resolved the issue.
From viewpoints, I guess some people view that it's fixed because they're in control of it and they don't want to talk about it no more. What we're looking at now is that you have a governor that has did everything he can to come in here and take over the city of New Orleans, not to take over any issues except to control the revenue. When a person come into your home, don't speak to you, go into your refrigerator and demand that you put steaks in there for them to eat, that tells you they're coming in to control your home. I asked this question, I think I even asked it of Mr. Sutton. Have you ever seen Landry, the governor, below Canal Street, in between the 6th Ward and the 9th Ward? I know
there you go,
now why you coming on these airwaves?
Now where you go?
Why are you coming on our airwaves starting all this chaos, Reverend Calhoun? What's going on here? Because
that's what I do.
You know the answer to that question. The last time I saw him here, he was standing in front of a steakhouse with his family with a thumbs up.
Reporter, and I know he stays abreast of things, so I'm just trying to find out, has anybody ever seen Governor Landry in the 6th Ward, Treme May, Lower 9, 7th Ward, 8th Ward, 9th Ward, any one of those areas below Canal Street other than St. Bernard Parish?
You know what? I think that's a good opportunity.
I think you should invite him.
I think that's a good opportunity
invite him down in that
invite him
ward.
to the
I've
lower
invited him. I've invited Orleans Parish School Board to come into the lower 9 to explain what's going to happen with MLK High School building. And they live here in Canaan. I can't get anyone to come to speak to this community. So we have issues.
I mean, have we seen our lieutenant governor down there? I mean, all of these people that have so much to say about New Orleans. Has Liz been to the 6th Ward, to Treme? Has she been in the East? I mean, because they have all these big opinions about a city that they absolutely don't maneuver in. So I'm with you there, Rev. We need to invite all of them. You know, maybe we talk about it enough. They'll
I
come.
would just like to understand what's going on. Because like I say, as we prepare for this election that's coming, what relationship will we have with the current state administration? I'm still trying to figure out how much representation do those areas that we identified, those wards we just identified, have in the representation of the current administration for the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any? Do you know? I mean, I know Austin is in that administration, but other than Austin, who else is there?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point about where have they been. Below Canal.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
I certainly don't see them in Algiers.
Wait, hold up. I know they come into Algiers.
Oh, the lies you tell. What part of Algiers must be the part? What part of
Maybe
Algiers?
Maybe take the exit and get back on.
Because to get to the top of Algiers, you got to come through the Fisher. And I definitely know I don't see them there.
You telling me the governor haven't been to the cutoff?
No, I've never seen the governor in the cutoff. Absolutely. And all you got to do is ask the people hanging in front of Ben Stowe. All the people that hang on under the tree by Ben, they can tell you who come down there. That's the generals down there in the cutoff. You got to go past them to get down there, and I know they ain't seen the governor down there. I'm gonna ask them.
Well,
I'm gonna ask Councilman Freddie King, have the governor been to Algiers?
Oh boy.
No,
I know you've been to the Ninth Ward.
And I'm gonna ask Miss Alicia, have they been to the East? I mean, she the general out there. I'm gonna have to ask her. Has Liz Morrell been to the East? Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, any of these people with all of these big opinions about how the city of New Orleans isn't working? I wonder if they've been in the parts that they talk so
real?
Intimately about. Huh?
You know, he's tried now to put NOLA Police Department in. They've given authority now. We can't select, have any input on whatever contractor we want to pick up garbage.
Well, if they let the French Quarter do it, they better let the East do it. I'll tell you that much. The East have a chronic voting base, and if them people could decide who their contracts go to, baby, the East ought to be a mini utopia. They ought to have their own government, kind of like what the people doing in Baton Rouge, huh, Ray? What's that? What's St. George?
St. George is an independent entity.
Come on now, that's what the East ought to do. The East ought to create their name right now. What's gonna be y'all name, East? What's it gonna be? What's gonna be the name of y'all community that we getting ready to help y'all carve out?
Saint what?
Canal East, Industrial Canal East. No, the harbor, Intercoastal Canal East.
Come on. Come on. We got to make it sound real fancy.
Yeah.
Make the people want to visit. Come on now. I appreciate you, Rev.
The harbor.
Have a good one. Right. That's what sounds good to me. We need a slogan. What's the slogan for the harbors?
Ain't no getting there unless you come through us.
Listen, the slogan got to be, what's New Orleans without New Orleans East? That's the slogan. What's New Orleans without the East? Because if we take away our voting power, what will y'all be? I keep trying to tell y'all, they trying to turn this community. He actually said it. There's an article out there that the governor is quoted as saying he wants New Orleans to operate like, I think, South Carolina, I believe it was. It's South Carolina? Yeah. Am I correct with that?
That's right. Yeah.
I believe that's the place he said he wants New Orleans to operate like. Well, all I'm going to ask the governor is, if you want it to operate like South Carolina, why don't you go govern South Carolina? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just go there. You don't have to replicate South Carolina here. Yeah. Just go to South Carolina, because New Orleans will never be anything but New Orleans. And y'all could continue calling it NOLA all you want. This is New Orleans. And I keep telling people language is important. And what we allow them to say matters. Good morning, Lee. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Good morning. Don't worry, it's coming.
What's coming?
The city of East New Orleans.
Oh, yeah?
East New Orleans.
Oh,
it's
yeah?
going to be the sixth largest city. I'm saying, the hell with the governor.
Ooh.
The city, the people in East New Orleans East are going to make their own decisions, regardless of what these politicians say and lie and try to persuade you. Let's talk about one thing at a time. This education.
Yes.
Nelson Mandela stated that education is the way out of poverty. Can't get around it. And I know firsthand that I myself have spoken to corporate managers, corporate CEOs of major big companies, and about coming to East New Orleans. And I have been very well received. One gentleman I asked about this, he asked me one question. He said, what is the educational level of your incarcerated population? And I said, it's got to be closer to 5th grade. And he told me, he said, so you want me to take my company, a billion-dollar company, and come to an area where the average person on the street that gets arrested can only read at a 5th grade level? How can they fill out a job application? Right. Basic skills, reading, writing, and how they say it, arithmetic. You've got to learn that. There's no reason why every person, every person in this city graduates with a high school diploma. There's no reason why. If you want to go to a trade school after that, that's fine. I have no problem with that. We should put as much emphasis on trades as we do on people attending college. Give them the opportunity to become a licensed carpenter, a licensed electrician, a licensed mechanic. That's important. College is not for everyone, but people should have the opportunity to succeed as well as to fail. You should not hinder a child and say, well, you can't do that. Let him fail. At least he'll know what not to do or to do it differently. But education is the way out of poverty. You can't get around it. That's why we are surpassed by Japan, Korea, Indonesia, Southeast Asia. That's why we are surpassed, because our emphasis is not on education, quality education. And no child should be strapped with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt once they receive that education. No child. Education should be free in this country, just like health care. Health care for our elderly, health care for our infants, health care for people who can't afford it. It should be free, and should be a quality health care, a quality education, not a learning institute. Look, when I went through my research at college, there was something that I was told by someone, a medical staff person at Charity Hospital. He said, you want to see what they think about you? Go down in the basement, and in the files, you'll see red stamps on patients' files. Red stamps. That's PPP. You know what that stood for? And you know who it was applied to? It was applied to people of color.
Yeah.
And it meant piss poor protoplasm. That's what it meant. That's what they think about. They, meaning white folks, think about us. You will never be declared equal, because the white folks don't want you to have the same quality of life. They want you to be burdened with servitude. They want you to say, oh, I can only do this, or I can't be that. And I'll be damned and dead before I allow my grandchildren to have to fight to sit in the front of a bus that my taxes pay for and give that bus driver a job for.
Listen, I'm with you, Lee. I'm with you. I'm with you, and I appreciate you so much. I appreciate the passion in your commentary and the call to action, because that's really what it is. We have to be as organized as they are when it comes to our communities and what we want, and we have to be as vocal as they are to get the things that we want. So I appreciate you, Lee. Thank you so much for calling in this morning.
Well, this city is going to see a new city, and we're going to govern ourselves. And it's coming.
I hear you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling.
Listen,
Thanks for calling.
Coming. And look, we got to go to break. You wanted something real quick, or you want to wait to the other side of the break?
Let me just take 90 seconds, and I'm going to give y'all my recommendations.
Do it in 60. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to give you my suggestions for moving forward with Essence Fest. So just hear them out. It's just One black man's opinion. So here we go.
I want your opinion, but let's do that on the other side.
Okay.
I don't want you to rush, because what I want to say real quick, Will, it's important to note that Charleston, South Carolina's demographic.
Yeah, that's the one.
You want to hear it?
Mm-hmm.
70.6% white.
Mm-hmm.
17.3% black or African American, 3.4% of 2 or more races, and 2.3% white Hispanic, and 2.17% Asian. And that's from Data USA.
Mm-hmm.
So when we hear things like you want
us
New
to be
Orleans,
like,
you have to start to ask yourself, what does that mean
like?
for you? What does that look like? Yeah. So I want to hear your opinion as it relates to Essence, and I do not want you to rush.
All right.
So y'all, we're gonna keep talking. I hope y'all keep listening. We're gonna hear Will's opinion on Essence and my opinion on Will's opinion on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about
all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Hot and humid across southeast Louisiana today with highs in the low to mid-90s. A heat advisory is in effect as feels-like temperatures climb to 108 to 110 degrees. Scatter storms are possible late morning into the afternoon, bringing heavy rain, lightning, and gusty winds. Most activity fades after sunset. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Hey, this is Dave Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the whole water stove, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, everybody. It's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Brian Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning show. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta White. Shout out to our super producer, Naira Sanders, and all of our baby interns learning how to work the boards, and my co-host, Will Sutton.
Good morning.
Prior to the break, we were talking about the current governor's desire for New Orleans to operate like Charleston, South Carolina, or Nashville, Tennessee. And Will made the comment off air, well, why doesn't he want it to operate like Atlanta?
How about that?
since we're talking about thriving communities, why not Raleigh? why not Washington D.C.? I'm just asking, why not Charlotte?
There are complexion issues.
Questions that need answers, right? But right now, Will has a follow-up to our conversation with the founder of Essence Ventures, Mr. Richelieu Dennis. And, Will did a column prior to this column where we talked to Mr. Dennis directly on air
for more than an hour
here at WBOK, and now there's a follow-up piece authored by Will. Go ahead, Will.
I'm just going to I'm not going to read this thing to you. I'm just going to jump to the suggestions.
Don't read it to us,
I'm just going to jump to the suggestions, and I'd love to hear what you all think. So here are my suggestions for moving forward. We haven't known who to expect, who to listen to, or who we might consider following. If that person doesn't live here, someone should be here 6 to 8 times a year. Why? Consistent Essence leadership. Establish a Essence house and an Essence family center or something called the Essence Vibe and have a year-round operation. Let us know that you're here and that you care about this community all year long. And yes, we have the grand thing every July, Essence Festival. Establish a local committee. Local, regional, state committee, representatives from Louisiana, New Orleans, mayor's office. You get the idea, but have somebody, it's still your operation, just like the Sugar Bowl or the Bayou Classic, but there are committees for these things with local input and local feedback. Create an Essence Coalition. Have a boots on the ground group of sisters who live, work, and play here. You want to be about the founding of Essence, all about for Black women. We got plenty of sisters who are part of this community, and I think that'd be great. And another part is engage Black media. Engage WBOK, Louisiana Weekly, the New Orleans Tribune, Data News Weekly. Engage them throughout the year and as a part of leading into the big festival, and involve Black youth. To create something sustainable, you can't just look at my age group for sure, and not even the one behind. We need to look at the younger people and what they like and want, and then take that in consideration. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I mean, those are some good recommendations, but the question is, has Essence lost its essence?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the question.
I wrote that.
And I think it has to be some introspection going on there, because when you were getting it right, ask yourself, why were you getting it right? Because even if the demographics of people have changed, the formula for how you got it right should not have been touched. Because the folk who like Frankie Beverly and Anita Baker and all those demographics of people are still there. They're going to follow those people wherever they are. But the generation behind that, what was the formula for the generation prior to that? The formula stays the same, even though the folk attending the festivities may change in terms of age and things of that nature. But we have to get back to what made Essence great. And one of the things that make Essence great is the culture of New Orleans. The energy in New Orleans makes that made that fest great. And if you start to block out the essence of New Orleans and the culture of New Orleans, then what's the purpose of it being in New Orleans? It could be in Charleston. You hear me? Okay. Like,
I tell you what, if it's in Charleston, there ain't going to be as many Black people saying, "I want to go."
I mean, listen, because if we're not listening to the pulse of the city, the pulse of the community, if we're not taking advantage of the what is special about New Orleans, it is the energy here is magnetic. You cannot deny it. And if you don't tap into the culture and amplify the culture by way of Essence, then why is it here? That's the question. Why is it here? And so there has to be, and I believe that Mr. Dennis is listening to the feedback. I believe he has some dynamic women around him who are also imparting some feedback. And here's the thing: we're also we've been asked to gather the feedback and hand over to Essence. And so I think the takeaway here is that he knows that on some fronts it missed the mark this year. And I think what's important to take away from it is that he's listening and he's made a vow to improve and to get better. He's also made a commitment to this city to say that fest it belongs here. You know, it's New Orleans. What's Essence without New Orleans?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that is where we need to be very, very intentional about planning. And as he stated, the planning for Essence started the day Essence ended. They started planning for they and I have a comment that came to my phone. They said they did all of that in the early years. I guess he's talking about your recommendations. So that lends itself to my point. If it ain't broke, stop trying to fix it. Like, let it do what it's traditionally been doing. But the fact that you have these people coming in and tweaking things that didn't ask to be tweaked is probably why we're seeing people, rebuke it. Because what is this, right? Well, this is not what we plan all year for. We save up for. We come in droves of 20, 30 plus, right? Groups. And whatever we were doing then, how about we go back to that and see how we can improve those processes to keep the essence of the fest, but to improve it in ways that it opens itself up to additional demographics of people. And you don't have to change the formula to be attractive to other demographics of people.
Yeah, I think we're talking about a clash of cultures. I think we're looking at a operation responsible for the fest has other businesses, and they have a path to success that they think is probably good for this particular festival, and that includes a broader look than New Orleans culture. And I think there are plenty of Black folks here who deeply love who we are and love our culture, and we're interested in other parts of the African diaspora.
Because we're not a monolith. But we did that to the person's point. We did that in previous years. Essence had something for everybody. You might have not liked who was on the main stage, but somebody in that super lounge was going to get your attention, right? You might have came for the vendors who had all of the hair care products and all of the different things. You could have come for the panels, the speaking engagements and things like that. There was something for everybody. Day one might have not tickled your fancy, but day two was like, I gotta be in the building, right? Or you didn't go day 1 or 2, but you was like, I'm going to the closeout. I want to see Frankie Beverly. So it was something for everybody, and you do not have to reinvent the wheel to be attractive to different demographics of people. And I think trying to cater to all of these influencers who are hot at the moment and trendy at the moment, that doesn't say longevity to me. You've had a formula that has worked for 30 years. Something about it still should be viable. So why we got to throw the baby out with the bathwater?
Well, we'll see. These are just some thoughts that I put together based on talking to a number of people and observing.
Well, can you observe this? Somebody messaged me and said the engagement and the festival itself began to decline under the Time Warner ownership.
That's correct. Absolutely. So that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So there has been a transition. I see it in decades, basically. And I'm suggesting that we get back to some of that and understanding what I see is a move to an international festival.
Wow.
And how's that fit with our
That's not the energy of
culture.
Essence, though. This is
Well,
and he mentioned
that's why I'm bringing
Coachella.
that up.
Remember, he mentioned Coachella.
And that's why I'm bringing it up.
I want to take James before we go. James, welcome to the Good Morning Show. We got about 40 seconds.
Yeah, I'm going to be quick. Check it out. Y'all, to your point, it's like they added Essence came down here and said, you know what would be good in that gumbo? I'm going to throw some weenies off in it.
I like that.
That's going to be fire right there. They're going to love that. They're going to eat that up. But then to the caller's point before the commercial last go around, I agree. I called and said that a long time ago, man. When OT just got back, I said it on the radio. I was like, man, move everything out here to the east. We didn't already establish parades and everything is nice. We ought to have an Indian festival out here. We ought to have food festivals out here. And look, Doc, I ain't trying to cut your hood off either. We can do it in our
Absolutely, and I know we can. I know we can.
Let's put them Indians on the back of them U-Hauls and let's move around. You know what I'm saying? So I just want we don't need to let them have NOLA down there, man, and see how that works. it'd be quiet like they walking around in Charleston. I'm telling you, it'd be quiet. It'd be nice and white.
I appreciate you, James.
All right.
And listen, the folk in the chat were giving the names, right, Will? They said the city of East New Orleans.
Yeah, right.
And look, the slogan needs to be everything flows through us.
Right.
Look, I want to thank everybody who engaged with us by way of the phone and those of you who engaged in the chat. I want to give a shout out to the Honorable Darren Lombard for joining us this morning, availing himself, talking about qualifying and what's next. We've had a ball here. I know I have. It's Monday, y'all, the Monday after qualifying. So this week is going to be a good week. I'm looking forward to Friday, and I'm going to tell you on Friday why. Shout out to all of our WBOK listening audience and our partners, and we appreciate you for rocking with us from 7 to 9. Y'all stay tuned. Up next for the Front Porch, we're grilling the Campbells for us. The Good Morning Show, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt, my co-host Will Sutton, and my super producer Naira Sanders. We gonna see y'all tomorrow. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
Oh.